Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Bob Johnston, and on behalf of the Chevalier family, I want to thank you all for coming here today. I'm going to steal a line from Art here. I'm sure it's not proper on an occasion like this to wear a hat, but Art wouldn't recognize me without my Yankee hat. That line was taken from Art with a eulogy of a good friend of ours not that long ago. Except in Art's case, it was a Rolling Stones hat. And if you know Art, you probably know that he hated my beloved Yankees. And he made sure that I knew it on a regular basis. But I'll get back to that in a little while. Though we didn't share love of the same sports teams, we did have one same passion, the Rolling Stones. There are several large websites for Stones fans, but the largest and best is called Shidooby. For a long time, I would just pop in Shidooby every once in a while, see if there was any news about the band, and then sign off. I didn't participate in any way. But when the Stones toured again in 2005, I started reading the board again on a regular basis, and I became a member. I remember thinking it was kind of weird that everybody had these screen names. A lot of them were Stones-related screen names, but some of them were just plain strange. For example, there was this one guy on the board whose screen name was Raining Blimps. What the heck is that supposed to mean? Well, Raining Blimps was this guy named Art, and it became very apparent very quickly that he was the funniest guy on the board. And it was obvious that everyone knew it. His humor ranged from intelligent to self-deprecating to downright sophomore. But it was always funny, and I always found myself looking forward to reading the stuff he wrote. As I slowly posted more and more, I felt a kinship with many of these people because they shared my same fanatical passion for the Stones. I felt that I had become a part of this community of Shidoobies. Or as my beautiful wife called us, Stones freaks. But very nice freaks. In fact, many of the Shidoobies flew here today to be part of the celebration of Art's life with us. And countless others sent donations for the Stones floral arrangement here, with the knowledge that any money that went above and beyond that would go towards Andre's college fund. The response was incredible. Then after mentioning it on a special Facebook page that was set up for Art, I got many more emails from some of Art's non-Stones friends as well. Anyway, it wasn't too long after joining Shidooby that I got a private message from Art. He told me that he liked what I posted, and he especially found my sense of humor funny. See, I told you this guy was smart. We passed a few messages back and forth, and he invited me into another small Stones board called the Keith Richards Voodoo Lounge, whose members were called loungers. I'm thinking that's cool, I'm really in now. Right away I was welcomed and found the board and the loungers to be great. I wonder if there's a moment of clarity when a mouse is eating the cheese when he realizes it's a trap. Originally, I thought he invited me to Shidooby because he thought I was funny, but I quickly realized that Art had been the resident whooping boy of the lounge. And by inviting me in, the newly imported village idiot, he could deflect some of the wicked and brutal humor my way. It takes a different breed to be among this group. A self-deprecating sense of humor is a must. One member turned out to be a photoshopping wizard. An evil photoshopping wizard. And Art and I lived in fear of how we would be photoshopped into the strangest pictures with hysterical results. Art with feigned horror would almost always say, "Hey!" I realized that this group was private because not everyone would appreciate this humor. But we looked out for each other. The loungers are a special group of friends, and I think the world would. The lounge has only one rule, stolen from Vegas. What happens in the lounge stays in the lounge. But once in a while, the lounger's out of control sense of humor would spill over to Shidooby, and our offbeat humor wasn't always appreciated by everyone. A small group of us were even labeled a clique, the inner circle, or worse yet, the gang of Mao. Some would have been hurt to be labeled like this, others might have been offended, but we took it as a badge of honor and we laughed at it. Our merry gang of Mao. Besides posts on Shadooby in the lounge, Art and I would often communicate regularly by email, text, and phone, and a real friendship began. We really hit it off. We talked about everything. We discovered that we had a lot in common. Though we liked different teams, we both shared a love of sports, and as I mentioned before, Art really hated my Yankees. To annoy him, I would often send him a text or an email that simply said, "The Yankees won. I knew you'd want to know." And I take every Yankee loss to heart, and after a game, my phone would alert me to a text, and I would cringe. I knew what it said. The Yankees lost. I knew you'd win it. Well, there are many things we agreed on. We share the same love of country, same political beliefs, and a very similar sense of humor. I can't tell you how many times Art would send me a text that simply said, "Read the board," meaning Shadooby. I knew something funny was there. We played off each other all the time, and we often set ourselves up to be the brunt of joke after joke. We also shared a great love of family. We shared photos of our family and spoke of them often. Art loved his family, and over the years, he told me many stories. He told me the story of how Kathy was kidnapped on their wedding day by her family. And back in February, he bragged about their recent 25th anniversary. He beamed with pride as he told Nicole's graduation from college in only 3.5 years and sent us photos of the event. He would always get excited and let us know when she was coming home to visit. And through photos and stories, I was able to watch Andre growing up. I remember him being so young in photos as he sat with Art, playing a game of Operation, the Spider-Man edition. I also remember how happy Art was not all that long ago when Andre cut his hair. He said that Andre looked much handsomer with it shorter. And then we laughed at the sheer irony of a Stones fanatic complaining about their kid having long hair. It was always very obvious that he truly loved his family. Of course, we also shared a love of the Stones. I remember talking to him about our individual college experiences, how we had each met friends who were Stones fanatics, became lifelong friends. Art went to Ohio University, and a group of his friends and fellow Stones fanatics called themselves the Ramblers, and I know several of them traveled here to be with us today. With me living in Long Island and Art here in Vegas, it wasn't easy to hang out together, but we knew someday it would happen. As the Rolling Stones traveled from city to city for their concerts, one of the local Shadoobys would always find an establishment, usually a bar, where the Shadoobys would meet for a pre-party before the concert and then after the show. It was at one of these parties in Atlantic City where I finally met Art. Unfortunately, the Stones decided not to come. Nick had laryngitis. But it didn't matter. We had a great time together, and it was a blast. And it was just like old friends getting together. Just weeks later, Art won a chance for a meet and greet with the Stones before a concert here in Vegas. Man, was he ever excited. Heck, we were all excited for him. We couldn't wait to hear about it. His beautiful wife, Kathy, not being a Stones freak herself, generously offered up her ticket to Dawn. Though he didn't have a sister born into the family, he found one in life. Dawn is that sister. The photo of Art and Dawn together at the Stones concert with the Stones is fantastic and something he always treasured. And it's right over there. Of course, that didn't keep us from immediately photoshopping Art out of the picture and adding Wayne Newton in. At least we kept that Vegas flair. We got together several times after that, but it was always for a few days, so we tried to cram as many things into those few days as we could. In April of 2008, Art flew to New York City for the premiere of the Rolling Stones concert movie, Shine a Light, which had been filmed at the Beacon Theater in Manhattan by Martin Scorsese. We had a huge gathering of Shadoobies that weekend. People literally flew in from New York from all over the world for the fun, including a fellow lounger, Sully, who literally flew halfway across the world from Papua New Guinea. One of the days that weekend, 4 of us, Dawn, couldn't be here today because mechanical problems on her plane. Debbie, who's sitting right in front of me, Art and I spent the day walking around Manhattan. We showed our respects at Ground Zero and then moved on to Battery Park, South Street Seaport, Chinatown, Little Italy. We walked, we talked, We ate and we laughed until we were tired. It was during that weekend when our good friend Miles, owner of the infamous Maine Diner, invited Art and I to come visit him in Maine. We had talked about it often, but we could never seem to find the right time. In February of 2010, I had a seminar in San Diego and took the opportunity to drive into Vegas, spend a few days with Art. He showed me around Vegas, the Hoover Dam, and we had a blast. And on that trip, I was fortunate enough to meet his lovely wife, Kathy, and his son, Andre. Then last September, we finally decided to make that trip to Maine, to see Miles. In our tradition of cramming, there's many things. Sorry, give me a second.
Can I try that?
The knife, please. Then in September, we finally decided to make that trip to Maine to see Miles and his beautiful wife, Trish. In our tradition of cramming as many things in a short time available, we planned the weekend for yet a Rolling Stones movie premiere. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rolling Stones. We saw the movie Thursday night, and many Shadoobies gathered for a pre- and after party. And the next day, we left on our journey. We met Miles in Rhode Island for a great concert by the guitarist Johnny A before the three of us headed up to Maine for the weekend. We had an incredible time with Miles and Trish, and even got a chance to meet up with a couple of other good friends from Shadoobie, Mary Ellen and Randy. And on the way back to New York, we stopped by to see yet another friend, Hess in New Haven. I can't tell you what an amazing time we had. The food, the weather, the company, all incredible. Sadly, just a few months later in December, Miles unexpectedly passed away. We were all heartbroken.
Can I? I'll use the ring next time.
Sadly, Miles unexpectedly passed away. We were all heartbroken, and Art flew into New York City to make the trip back up to Maine for the memorial service for Miles. Art and I spoke about it and decided that despite the incredible loss, we knew Miles' life should be celebrated. We went out to meet a bunch of Shadoobies the night before we left for Maine, and we saw our Rolling Stones tribute band with one of our friends in it, and we toasted the life of our friend Miles. We rolled back to my house about 2:30 and were on the road by 5:30 for the trip to Maine. The long drive gave us plenty of time to talk, and our plenty of time to sleep. But we talked about how we didn't want to cry. We wanted to laugh and celebrate the life of our friend. Art gave a beautiful eulogy that day at the memorial service, and though we did cry, we laughed and we celebrated too. So I know that's what Art wanted, a celebration of life. A life blessed to have been filled with the love of a beautiful wife, a lovely daughter, and a handsome son. A life filled with great friends. A life filled with laughter. I will miss you forever, Art, but I know someday we will meet again in the glory of God's kingdom in heaven. And may the good Lord shine the light on you. May the good Lord shine the light on you because,
Off the back.
as the Stones said in your favorite song,
That goes
we
next.
all need a shot of salvation, baby, once in a while. I love you and God bless you, my friend.